Hello everyone, and welcome to another Wine Steward Weekly Update video. It's great to imagine you being up here on the mezzanine with me. Once again, I do a lot of imagining this year, and I'm gonna pour myself a wine that I'll be talking about in a few minutes. White wine from Italy, it's back on the shelf. We haven't had an Arnese in a while. This is the white wine of Piemonte, you might say. Cortese might argue with that, but I think the best white wine from up there. The one that's most distinctive in flavor is a wine called Arnese. So let's get this going. Rev up the engines. And for once, give you a little bit of a table of contents for today's video, so you kind of know what to anticipate and when to just turn me off. But at any rate, let's tell you that today I'd like to talk about our upcoming Zoom event. We haven't given you much time to prepare for this. We have, this is happening in 1 week. 1 week. So take this as your notice. We'll also send out an email today. We'll also get this sampler, 6-bottle sampler, into our system so that you can order it online. And those of you who apply your Wine Club membership discount code will get it at 10% off. It won't sell for more than perhaps $130 or $135 to you Wine Club members. So it's a very nice value. 5 reds, 1 white, and I haven't even told you the theme yet. Of course, you know it if you watched last week's video. But let's get to that, shall we? What is the theme? What is the thing that we haven't done lately at the Wine Steward? We haven't treated the subjects of Chile and Argentina, nor have we had the presence of the enthusiastic and yet extremely well-informed Lizzie Butler up here to present those subjects. So we have decided in recent years with Lizzie to not just show Chile, but to also show both sides of the Andes. And so that's kind of the theme. We're gonna do 3 wines from Chile, 3 from Argentina. We're gonna put this beautiful thing away and show you a couple of the bottles that we'll be offering in this 6-bottle sampler. Because what do we anticipate from Chile? Probably Carmenere. If we've heard the story of the Lost Bordeaux grape, you can be assured that it will be represented once again in the sampler. There is a really nice Carmenere from our old friends at Casa Silva. And of course, what do we anticipate from Argentina? Malbec, the best Malbec in the world, the country that has just said we are going to be known by our Malbec. So of course we have to do that. All right, those are the anticipated wines. But what about the grape called Pais? Have you heard of this? Pais Viejo, which is actually otherwise known in California, if you ever see it, as the Mission grape, the original Vitis vinifera grape that was planted by the Mission Fathers way back when. So California is also, nowadays it's known for many, many other grapes rather than the Mission grape, but there are still some old vines here in California. But it's grown down there as Pais. It's a beautiful wine. What we're gonna surprise you with is a wine that's not dense and heavy, but delicate and fragrant and fun. And you would put perhaps a slight chill on it and have it with charcuterie and have it on warm days when the day's perhaps a little too warm for having red wine. So I was just making sure I had the camera going. I've done this before where I've talked for 20 minutes and realized, we're not rolling. At any rate, Pais Viejo is in your sampler, along with Malbec and Carmenere. What else? This is going to be a really wonderful comparison of 2 higher-end Cabernets, one from each side of the Andes. So this is a wonderful Argentine Cabernet called Casarena, and we've put it in our world-class wine club before, but this time it's going to appear in the sampler. Compared with that will be another wine that actually arrives today called Lazuli, the latest vintage of a Chilean Cabernet that we have loved for years, a very durable Chilean Cabernet. It's a very distinguished wine. I sometimes call it the Martha's Vineyard Cabernet of Chile. So if you've ever had Hike's Martha's Vineyard, equate it with this Lazuli style as you'll be tasting it at the event. I did mention that there's going to be 1 white in the sampler, and this is it. This is easily one of the best Semillons I've ever had. Semillon is a grape that just doesn't get a lot of exposure. It is the other white grape of Bordeaux, most often blended in with Sauvignon Blanc. And here it is done in pure form by Mendel. It is really, really good. I don't know if the glare is keeping us from seeing this bottle, but Mendel Semillon will be a big surprise for you who have had Semillon before and realize it doesn't get out much. You don't see much of it. So let's give it some exposure by one of its greatest producers in the entire world, Mendel. Very nice wine. Once again, that whole sampler is about to be available on our website. And we are doing this event next Thursday. What would that make that? I think that's the 18th or so. Shoot, I don't have a calendar in front of me. At any rate, it's 1 week from today's video publication. So sign up. It'll be at 5 p.m. Lizzie will be with us. She'll tell you all about these wines. And the nice thing is this 6-bottle sampler represents wonderful value and a wonderful flavor spectrum for those of you who either can't make the Zoom event, or if you do and you say, I'm not going to open all 6 bottles, that's not the idea. You get to hear about all 6. Maybe you have 1 or 2 of them open that evening. Maybe you're in a garage with safely distanced friends, and 6 of you perhaps can get 3 or 4 of those bottles open. But the idea is to commit to this sampler, get on the video, get on the Zoom event, and learn all about Chile and Argentina with its greatest instructor. There's nobody else in the United States who portrays those wine countries with more enthusiasm and knowledge. Lizzie has been up here on the mezzanine before, done the demonstration before, and this is the only way we can see her this year, at least at this point in the year. So sign up. I can't wait to enjoy that with you. What's next? Oh, I guess I told you I was going to give you the table of contents and never did. But we've already covered item number 1, which is the Zoom event. Next, I want to tell you just a little bit about Valentine's Day and how it might apply to you and how the wine steward might be able to furnish your wine steward needs, or your Valentine's Day needs. We want to talk about a couple of wine club wines because this is in fact that time of the month where, as of today, with 1 more delivery on its way in, we will be able to supply you with your February wine club wines. So we have nearly 800 happy wine club members, and we'd love to have more. Our clubs are wonderful for giving you exposure, not giving you the same wineries' wines every time you get your club pack. So the idea is exposure. It's a little dangerous. We do try to keep it safe with flavors that we think are going to be approachable for you, but we do want to stretch you. We want to broaden your horizons. That's what the club is all about. And we thank you back for your open-mindedness and your monthly support with 10% off everything else you buy here at the Wine Steward. So it's a wonderful value that way too. If you're a habitual wine buyer at the Wine Steward, you got to be in our wine club, if only to get that discount, but especially to get exposed to wonderful wines. So we want to talk about some of those wines. I do want to tell you a bit about this white wine that I'm enjoying right here. Ah, it smells nice. This is at room temperature. You know me, I like to try a wine the first time around a little closer to room temp rather than freezing cold where you miss half of it. I'm not missing a thing here. This is delicious. Finally, I do want to give a plug for our daughter one more time and just mention that Bloom's End will be a topic right at the end. So Bloom's End is Mary Denham's business, her blooming business, and we will be addressing that a little bit as it may pertain to the Wine Steward and you Wine Steward fans. So we've covered the Zoom event, and we are going to talk a little bit about Valentine's Day, not to be burdensome, but to point out once again, because we put these up in front of you, that we have tons of beautiful champagne down there. Rosé, of course, is kind of the color of Valentine's Day as far as wine goes. And this Laurent Perrier Rosé, many of you already know, is one of the greatest rosés made. This time it comes cleverly packed by our own Eric Edgar with 2 beautiful flutes. Actually, these are more of that more ideal style of wine glass. It's sometimes called a tulip. So that's a better way of smelling your champagne, because nowadays we actually smell our champagne. Speaking of that, I have to run and get something because it is an important topic. So I hope you can hear me as I run into my office. And grab this prop. I always forget to have one thing or the other during the video, so a little embarrassing moment. At any rate, this will come up with a future topic. So now I'm all set. All right. We are going to talk about, we are talking about Valentine's Day, pointing out that rosé comes in that pack as created by Eric Edgar. And we've already shown you this, but we want to remind you because that day is 3 days away. Taittinger champagne also comes in that format. So 2 beautiful flutes or tulip glasses and Taittinger's beautiful Brut Française champagne. Yum, yum. I'm a little disorganized today, as you can tell. And another example of that is the fact that I forgot to mention that those of you signing up for the Zoom event also have the option. This is going to be like an add-on, like Super Size Me, will you? This will be a separate item that you can add on another product that Lizzie will be speaking on. This is the best sparkling wine I've ever had from South America. This is from the producers of Sol de Sol in Chile. And the only bummer is we got the last, I think, 16 bottles of this in Northern California for this event. So whereas more of you may sign up for the event, not all of you will be able to do this Super Size Me kind of add-on of this Brut. We didn't want to incorporate it into the actual sampler because it's not inexpensive. It's kind of champagne price, and it deserves to be because it's very good, but it would have tweaked the price of the sampler. So order the sampler, and if you'd like, add on the Sol de Sol Brut. All right? We're kind of on a sparkling wine kick right now as far as the conversation, so why don't we prolong that and tell you about yet another topic I forgot to mention. So this is Prosecco, right? But look, can you tell with this lighting? The lighting's not, oh, maybe when I put my hand back there, you can tell that this is not white. All of a sudden, there is pink Prosecco. That day was coming. Those marketers in Italy were figuring, you know, Provence is stealing all the thunder with the popularity of rosés these days. Why don't we in Prosecco make sparkling wine that's pink? Well, they already have been, but until this year, until this new arrival of wines from this region, they could not call it Prosecco if it was pink, if it had the addition of Pinot Noir. That's what's going on here. So in the past, Prosecco could only be white. It had to be 100% made of the grape Glera. Now, this is still Glera based, but it is colored up and prettified a little bit with a little, maybe 15% addition of Pinot Noir. It has to be aged a little bit longer in that Charmat style tank. And what else is the difference? It has to be vintage. So that's kind of interesting because Prosecco usually is not vintage, but Prosecco Rosé, at least by the current laws that have just been established in, you know, Europe and its wine laws, they love to make them. This needs to be vintage. So what do we have here? I think it's 2019. Yep, 2019 Gran Passione. Beautiful label, great name for Valentine's Day. Great color for Valentine's Day. It's very delicious Prosecco Rosé at $15.99. We think if this is all you're buying for your Valentine's Day sweetheart, you kind of deserve to be bonked over the head with an empty bottle of this. So why not buy 6? We bought enough for you to be able to supply a week-long fest of love and Prosecco. So Gran Passione, brand new Prosecco for the wine steward, brand new category of wine for the United States, imported into the United States as of just January. So brand new, it's kind of exciting to talk about a new category of wine, right? Let's get into the wine club subject. Let us just point out very briefly that I have to choose 12 wines every month just for clubs. I taste a lot with my vendors, and I get to get picky, and because we might taste 100 wines in a busy week. But even then, we might not find enough ideas. I went through my notebook, 4 months worth of wine tasting notes, and couldn't find the right wine for the world-class wine club per budget, per style. What haven't we done lately? What we haven't done lately, what I realized, is red Burgundy. That's beautiful Pinot Noir from Burgundy, France. So I noticed this kind of like hiding in the shadows down on the shelves and realized I really like this wine. I'm going to take home a bottle and make sure. So I did. This was not based on a vendor appointment, but based on one that happened back in the fall, I think, when we chose this wine. It's been lingering in the shadows with this kind of nondescript label. Nobody knows anything about it. Not everybody wants to spend $45 or $46 for a Pinot Noir from Burgundy, unless they really know and love the subject. So what do? We promote it. We show it to you in the wine club. And I really enjoyed this wine the other night. It's a 2016 Centenaire. You could call it a Lieu dit because it comes from one particular vineyard that is not a Premier Cru or Grand Cru vineyard, but it's a recognized vineyard, so we say Lieu dit when we talk that way. And the Centenaire 2016 from Dufleur is beautiful right now. It's got a lot of mass for the wine type. So some Burgundies, in fact, most are valued based on their delicacy. I mean, they're profound when you smell them, but delicate on the palate. This one just has a little more body, and that's why I think more world-class club members deserve to try it. And I just can't wait to share it with you. In fact, I think I have a Burgundy glass right here. It's gonna come in handy for another subject. Yes, at least I have this prop prepared for me, so. Wow, that's the end of this wine. I opened it 2 days ago, but I did find that this particular red Burgundy tasted just as good the next day. It's still got a lot of stuff going on. I think yesterday was the prime day for this wine, meaning it will age very, very well. If it overnights well, it will age well, is kind of my rule of thumb. But I will be enjoying that last tablespoon or so left in this near empty bottle. It is still delicious. It's got dark cherry fruit, but it also has a musky mink quality that reminds you that it's from Europe. Good body. Good acidity as well. I think duck or quail, if you ever do that, or rotisserie chicken would just be lovely with this wine. So think on that. If you're not a world-class club member, you can still access this wine. Regardless of your club membership, you can get it. Even if you're not in our club, we have it on the shelf. So you've just heard about a very nice red Burgundy that's been forgotten for the last several months, sitting down there in the shadows. I just want to point out that our good old friend William Harrison will be represented once more. This is one of my favorite wineries in the Rutherford district of the Napa Valley. And I think they're one of the few who really excel, especially for the decent price with Cabernet Franc. So we're going to show the Red Collector Club this Cabernet Franc along with a Cabernet. So they'll get their Cabernet fix, but we want to expose them once again to one of the greatest examples of Napa Valley Cabernet Franc. Beautiful wine, really beautiful. It's 2015, so it's got great concentration. That was the last drought year of a series of 3 really rain-deprived years up there. And so by then the vines were saying, that's it, we're not going to give you as much of a crop. But what was on the vines were smaller berries with much more concentrated flavors. And that Cabernet Franc reveals that. This cool wine is where I ran into the office to get my prop. So normally I am, if I'm not here at the Wine Steward, I might be in the Civic Center Plaza in San Francisco in front of City Hall, running around with this sign. Of course I'm joking, but I did make this sign in order to use it once in a while at events, like to remind people of something they often forget to do, especially the casual wine consumer forgets to smell his or her wine. So I just raise this banner and say, hey guys, smell your wine. I think smelling wine, of course, is automatic for most of you wine lovers, but some people just kind of forget and go right to the wine, go right to the mouth. Well, when it comes to this wine club wine that we're putting into the Wine Adventure Wine Club wine, I hope you will smell your wine with a little bit of reference, with a little bit of knowledge about reduction. Reduction is a winemaking concept. It's a quality in the nose, and it's also because of a certain kind of winemaking that you get reduction. Sometimes it's by accident, and sometimes it's called a flaw, and other times it's done on purpose and considered an attribute. So let's understand reduction a little bit. It's kind of the opposite, not exactly, but kind of the opposite of oxidation. Of course, you can promote oxidation in a wine while you're making it by splashing it around a lot, by racking it, moving it from one barrel to another, and doing it in a barrel rather than a more, let's say, hermetically sealed situation like a stainless steel tank. Well, if you wanted to make wine naturally with no added sulfites that would help support the durability of the wine, you have to kind of think ahead a little bit. You have to plan to make the wine a certain way so that it'll have other qualities of durability. Reduction is one of those. Reduction means you are not giving the wine any air. Well, if you're not doing that with Syrah, you could end up with a rather poopy smelling Syrah. And in fact, when you open this wine, as I did 2 days ago, it smells a little farty, all right? I'm just gonna have to say that. I apologize. This is a family show, but let's just say, upon opening this for 2 of our staff members 2 days ago, I said, smell this right now, upon uncorking. You are smelling reduction, and they shrank back in horror. I mean, they're like, whoa, what is that? Yes, it does smell like gunflint, or more impolitely, grandma's fart, or, something like that. And I said, okay, now, swirl it, move this wine around for 3 or 4 minutes, and use a big glass. Let's do the big Pinot Noir glass for this wine. This is kind of like a mini decanter, right? This is a Northern Rhone Syrah, a producer we've never represented named Sylvain Badel from a importer that we're really enjoying working with, a really nice French guy named Greg Monteau. And he brought me this, and I realized what to do when I smelled it. When I smelled that sample he brought, I thought, okay, this is reduction. It's a little farty. That's done on purpose. The wine spent all of its winery time in a big stainless steel tank. Couldn't get any air, right? It went straight to bottle. It was done, it was fermented with native yeast. It had no sulfite added. The producer wanted to be as natural as possible with the winemaking. So when it went to bottle, no sulfites added, and reduction, rather, was the way of giving this wine some stability. A reducted wine will sometimes age longer. Sometimes reduction can't be waved out. But this wine, in fact, after a few minutes of swirling, gave us true Northern Rhone Syrah qualities, which, by the way, are not big jammy fruit. That's not where we, the wine lover, are anticipating from this, the birthplace of Syrah. What we want and what we're getting here are black olives, meat hanging, like cured meat, hanging from perhaps a delicatessen ceiling. And of course there's fruit. There's blackberries in here. There's pepper, there's licorice. There's a lot going on. Northern Rhone Syrah can scare off people the first time they have it. A reductive Northern Rhone Syrah can be the end of that odyssey. Like, forget it, I'm never going back there. That's why I hope people read the Wine Club notes. I hope they watch this video. I hope our staff represents that challenge every time they hand the Wine Adventure Club wines this Syrah. I hope it will be addressed. Learn, people. This is really important to know that reduction in this case is a good thing. It's giving this wine durability. It's so much fun to see a wine reveal itself too, like start from an ugly duckling and bloom into a swan, right? Opened this 2 days ago. That, of course, long since has lost its reductivity quality. And, you know, like I said, within 5 minutes was already displaying the black olive and the cured meat qualities of Northern Rhone Syrah. Man, that jammy flavor. It does have nice substance in the mouth. It's not over the top fruit. It's that nice mixture of qualities I was mentioning. But I think what people are really going to respect is the mouthfeel. So if you don't smell your wine and go straight to the mouthfeel, you're going to like this wine. If you do smell your wine and understand reduction, you'll know what to do. Swirl, swirl, swirl. Watch this wine emerge into beauty. Northern Rhone Classical Beauty. Really nice wine. I'm so pleased to find it. And it's actually a good value because to get this effect from a Northern Rhone Syrah, you're usually spending $25 or $30 or more. You will not have to spend that on this, okay? Especially Wine Club members getting 10% off. That gives you a glimpse of some Wine Club wines. Actually, I do want to mention one more if I can find the bottle. Where is Ursa? Ursa. Okay.